All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. We'll go through your feedback in just a bit. Keep them coming at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. Governor Mutua, what do you make of this presidential difference that has been playing out in public? Is it a lack of leadership? Gerard Gay says the president should have been the bigger person.
Well, let me be a bit philosophical here. There's a guy who wrote a poem that is very popular called The Desiderata that says, "Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence," which is maybe something that we've lacked in our country. A very good friend of mine that I like actually reminded me of something that you find in meditation, saying that for some of us, doing nothing is a medicine that we need. And the reason I'm saying this is at times it helps to pull back and look at where things are going. We have people who are too active, speaking too much, talking too much, attacking each other too much at the detriment of the country. Now, we see the president publicly speaking against William Ruto. We see William Ruto speaking against the president. These are the leaders at the top holding a public spot. But it's important to go back and ask ourselves, when did the problems begin? You know, I've been in government for quite some time now, in the national government, in county governments, and I'm a good friend of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And we have to look at several things. The reason President Moi inherited the presidency is because he was loyal. President Moi faced a lot of problems from the so-called, kitchen cabinet of Jomo Kenyatta's government at the time. They didn't want him. But he was loyal. And his loyalty, by not fighting, by not going head-to-head with the president, by working for the president, by being in sync with the president, ensured that he became the president of this country for 4 years. William Ruto needs to ask himself, the way Cherengai is asking that Uhuru should revisit, you know, William Ruto should revisit his habits and ask himself, where did he go wrong? What did he do such that his boss turned against him? What are the problems that he did? Somebody tweeted to me and asked say that, you know, respect goes both ways, you know? And, you know, Cherengai is saying that there's been a lot of force and the office of the deputy president has been looked down upon, disrespected. But also, maybe it's a deputy president who has brought disrespect to the office of being a deputy president, that office of deputy president, by his behaviors. When the president stood out and called him out and said, "Unatanga-tanga, badala ya kufanya kazi." You know, what did he mean? He meant that this guy is not working. This guy is playing politics. And when you see that order that gave minister the power to coordinate government affairs, which should have been done by the deputy president, is because there was a vacuum. Whenever there's a vacuum, you have to fill that vacuum. So, for me, from where I sit and from my discussions with President Uhuru Kenyatta and others, William Ruto failed. Hajui kufanya kazi. Hakuweza kufanya kazi aliyopewa. Alianza kutangatanga kufanya siasa. So he created a vacuum. And the president had to fill that vacuum. But had the deputy president stayed in his office, done the work, concentrated on projects, not politics, respected the president, I can assure you right now, it will be a walkover for him to be the next president of the Republic of Kenya. But it's been a struggle. So we have to also be realistic. Yes, there's been a challenge. Yes, you can say President Uhuru Kenyatta has undermined his deputy president. President Kenyatta has not given enough respect. People are undermining the deputy president. But you have to ask yourself, kwani huyu deputy president walikuwa wanashikana mkono wamevaa ties red waki-announce cabinet, walikuwa wanaoneshana mapenzi kabisa ya kufanya kazi? What went wrong? Nini ilifanyika? Who is in the wrong here? Is it just President Uhuru Kenyatta? Ama huyu pia deputy amekosea? So it's something for Kenyans to realize that wakati kuna shida si mtu mmoja, shida mtu mwingine. Ukiona Uhuru Kenyatta na appoint mtu mwingine kufanya kazi ya serikali ambayo deputy alikuwa anafanya, inamaanisha huyu ameshindwa na kazi. Kama umeandika mtu kwa nyumba na ameshindwa kazi ya kuwalisha watoto wanakufa na njaa, si utamchukua mtu mwingine afanye hiyo kazi? Hautaangalia watoto wakifa na njaa. So it's as simple as that. Okay. So when there's a public spat, it's because there's a problem, and there's been a problem that has been fermenting for a long time. You can say it cuts both ways, but it's a problem that has actually grounded this economy. We are suffering as a people. I always say, and I always joke here and say that Jubilee is the fairest government ever. ndio serikali ambayo kweli imekuwa haina ubaguzi, because whether you voted for Jubilee or you do not vote for Jubilee, you are suffering. Sisi wote tumeumia because it has been a dysfunctional government because of the two elephants have been fighting.
Yeah.
But who is a problem here? Something for us to think about.
At least let's hear Prof's perspective on this. Prof, what does this mean in terms of for the public when there's a presidential misunderstanding, so to speak, that they're all going public and pointing fingers? Is this a lack of leadership, or is this just bare knuckle politics?
I think there are two levels. You judge the presidency at two levels. The presidency, of course, is the embodiment of the nation, and that is why we refer to him as CEO. That is what the Constitution portends. That he represents the Republic of Kenya. When you see him, you see the Republic of Kenya. In terms of what we have seen in the media, I do not think that we have seen President Uhuru Kenyatta, qua president. He speaking on questions of Jubilee. I think he's speaking on questions of what transpired. He's telling the nation that this is what I did when I was in this party. These are the questions that I have faced, the challenges that I have faced. So I think we should understand the president from that perspective of an insider who perhaps was in a situation where he could not perform within a specific time frame, and who was then able to perform. He's just giving us two comparatives that we do not understand as a nation. So I think we must appreciate the president's remark from that bit.
Yeah.
When he says that you cannot work from the top a car or a vehicle, I think what the president was speaking to is that a lot of work needs to be done in the office and not out in the political arena where you pronounce edicts from the top of vehicles, because often from time immemorial, certain government policy will be pronounced during local rallies and at functions. I remember during President Moi's time, he would appoint cabinet, he would appoint PSS and even heads of parastatals on the road. I think he sacked his deputy, the late Saitoti, when he was traveling from Nakuru. He stayed for a year without a deputy. Now, I think that is what the president was referring to. He was telling his deputy, please spend more time in the office. Don't spend a lot of time out here speaking politics. I think that is the point. But it is, and this is, I think this is universally acceptable. That it is not in good light that the president and the deputy should be speaking at each other. I think the two should speak to each other. And even the things that my old friend Cherage is speaking to, the senator, he has said that for the last 2 years, the deputy president has not attended the National Security Advisory Committee meetings, the NSAC, when he's supposed to attend. We do not know that. This is part of what we do not know.
Okay.
We don't know that. So this is part of what we have no idea. But we do not know the intricate goings-on in government. And I think a lot of these things should best or at best kept secret, because we do not know them. When we hear the president talk, the deputy president respond, it is not a good thing. We want government to remain government. And that's why it was called, what's it called? Sirikali?
Sirikali.
It means a lot of things should be kept where they are.
Right.
And we hope, and Trevor, let me say this as I wind up on this question. And that is why the Elections Act and the amendment, now we have the amendments to the Elections Act 2022 and the Political Parties Act, propose these coalitions within which frameworks can be worked. We hope that when these political parties deposit their dispute resolution mechanism with the Registrar of Political Parties, they will make some meaning, so that when there are disputes within political parties, these disputes can be settled within time, so that our leaders can serve this country.
Okay. Cherargei, you know, Mutua says that if the deputy president was loyal and he was working, it would have been a walkover for him to become the next president of this nation. Because there was a pronouncement by the president himself, yangu 10, alafu mwenzangu yake 10.
Thank you. Maybe a few things before I respond to that is, at least Governor Mutua agrees that the government of President Uhuru is dysfunctional. And everybody is suffering.
But that is public. That is public.
Of course, at least he agrees. so that is the whole point. It is dysfunctional because the deputy president was technically fired.
That also indicts the deputy president. If you also agree,
but I've said in the first term,
means you all failed.
But I said in the
they're both chefs in the kitchen.
Yes.
The food is bad.
No, but it was closed outside the kitchen. The kitchen was closed and Raila Odinga was brought into the kitchen.
But the president said himself that you can't deny me the successes. Same way he cannot deny the failures.
You are looking at the Jubilee as from 2013 to 2022. 2013 to 2017, the deputy president and the president worked together closely and they implemented the projects. And that is what the deputy president said himself, that under that tenure, a lot was achieved. From 2018 onwards, of course, it is in the public domain what happened. One thing that many of my colleagues here seems, and some of the Kenyans confuse, is that this was not a co-presidency. So many people don't know this is not a co-presidency. William Ruto was not a co-president. He is the deputy president. And when you are a deputy president, you are a principal assistant who only comes in, you know, to implement directions that have been given. I've just given an example of the Executive Order number 1 of 2018, where the national governments and coordination of national functions was transited to another office. Therefore, technically, the deputy president remained without any job in his office. You can imagine if you know, he's a principal assistant, duties needs to be reassigned by the president. There is not a William Ruto or anybody who becomes a deputy president in Kenya, works in office and just stays in office and starts doing his own work. He must be reassigned by the president because he's the principal assistant to the president. And therefore, I think the argument that my brothers are just putting across is we're trying to tell the country that the deputy president was a co-president. Secondly, what Governor Mutua says that if he had worked very well, it would have been easy for him to win easily. Deputy president, according to even latest research, and anybody else knows that he's the next president, the 5th. You know, he has never lost in his life, in his political life. It is his 5th winning. Others are doing 50 loss. So what I'm saying in short, is very simple, Trevor, is that the track record, that is why argument has been, and the deputy president has said, all the programs that had been discussed by Jubilee is the one who knows them. The challenge has been how to implement them. And that is why he has even said, and we are saying, let him come and correct the messes that are within Jubilee and ensure that they are fully implemented. And I think that is the bottom line. Okay. So the point is, and that is why endorsement of President Uhuru Kenyatta is relevant to running of the Deputy President, Dr. William Ruto. You remember even in 2002, it was a state project by President Moi, but it was rejected. So there is nowhere where projects, state projects, even at the lowest level, if my brother here who is running for senator today was even to endorse somebody for his local MCA ward, somewhere where he comes from, that MCA would lose because even Kenyans don't like projects. So in fact, Raila Odinga has lost by becoming a state project. So he doesn't even need to run. He just needs to lose. He doesn't need to campaign. So what you are saying in short is that, and you can see finally that the Kenya Kwanza, you can see William Ruto, many people are arguing that William Ruto cannot work with anybody. But you can see we have now our brothers, Musalia Mudavadi, who is in ANC. We have Moses Wetangula, who fought Kenya. The deputy president is trying to partner with leaders who have goodwill and the benefit of the country. And I want to assure my brother, Dr. Alfred Mutua, that the engagement of Kenya Kwanza, the doors are open to engage each and everybody. And it is open. I know, and I've never, of course, his party has not issued any direction on whether they can engage anybody or everybody, but I am happy that most of the formations in this country are willing. Kenya Kwanza is ready to partner and work with each and every Kenyan. And my brother, the doors are open to engage Kenya Kwanza.
Governor Mutua, are you still running for president?
Yes, I'm running for president.
Which coalition? Many people are saying this is a two-horse race.
We will get into the coalition business. What I want to do is we'll have our NDC very soon. We want to get our groupings going. As my good senator said, we are a national party. We are not a village party. And we've got many people who want to join Maendeleo Chap as candidates because it is a party that believes in development. And the reason we run for office is not just to have power and to say tunajali maslahi yenyu, is to bring development. We are a poor nation. You know, maskini umekuwa wimbo kama nchi yetu ya Kenya. A lot of young men and women are unemployed. They have skills, they can't get jobs. The economy, there is no money circulating. Watu wana pesa. People want to live good lives, good roads, water, you know, services. So I'm concentrating on building the party, and it's from the party that will decide which coalition we'll go into at that particular time. As you know, I have been to Azimio functions because I've worked very closely with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and I've worked closely also with Raila Odinga. And I look at ideology. Which ideology is better for Kenya? You know, because Kenya has been troubled by massive corruption. Kenya has been troubled by people who talk and don't work. We need people to benefit from the work there is. And there's so much money that if we put our efforts together and use the money that we have as a country to drive this country forward, we'll go places. We'll be a second world country in a few years.
But now that you're running as president, does it create unfair competition when the sitting head of state endorses a particular candidate? He said it, he hasn't said the person is endorsing yet, but he said, hata mimi niko na kura moja na ndaeka na kama kuna mtu moja wawili wanatasikia kenye nasema, ndawaambia in the direction tunachukua. Does it create unfair competition?
No, it doesn't give it. It's fair competition. It's called democracy. And it's within democracy that you get to separate the wheat and the chaff. It's a time when you're able to say, hawa ni fisi, hawa ni kondoo, this way we want to go, hawa ni watu wazuri. It's through that competition. That's why democracy works at times. So it's very good competition. For me, hata nikiwa niko Azimio, I'll go all the way to the end. Tuache tushindane huko, you know, because people want a young leader. People want generational change. I've said myself, if I'm not going to run for president, if anything happens and, for example, something happens and I'm unable to run for whatever reason, you know, and I'm still able to vote, I'll vote for Raila because I know what he stands for. But for now, I hope that Raila will get to a point where he says, I think Mutua is better. He is a younger version of me who can win and who has the energy to work.
Isn't that
but he's just supporting Azimio. Why? You should just say directly.
Running, but you said if something
no, but you see, Azimio is a coalition. Azimio is not a person. You see, that's a problem. We want to move this country from individualism to ideology. Azimio is a movement of an ideology. We are not joining Azimio just because of a person. People are not joining. Kenya Kwanza, is it about a person? Is it, you have said it's about a movement? You know, it's about a movement. It's about what we stand for. It's about the spirits of what we stand for. Leadership can change. You know, ya Mungu ni mengi. But you see, it's what you believe in that matters. But if you put your hopes on an individual, you should put your hopes on God and the movement that way you go in here. And you've got a good leader, you've got people who formed it and going well, then you're able to succeed. This is a myopic nature of Kenyan politics where it's about a person. It's not about a person. And as if you sit in meetings with Raila Odinga, let me tell you one thing. You may not like Raila Odinga, but there's one thing about Raila Odinga that I respect. He's a man who believes in democracy. He's a man who believes in giving people the opportunity to compete and to win. Ukimshinda, umshinda, ukishinda, ushinda. I have seen it in his system. When we sit down to talk to him, he's very open to ideas. There is no time he says, apana kanyagia huyu, funga hapa. He's open to democracy. And he believes that Azimio is a way forward. At his age where he is, he's seen the struggles of his father, Oginga Odinga. He saw the struggles of the founding father and others. He believes that Kenya should be where it wasn't, where, you know, it needs that Kenya should be somewhere else where it isn't today. He believes in Kenya as it is. So I've never seen him coming with the spirit that it has to be him. It's about his movement and my movement and our movement and